You're watching Calgary 7 News at 11, working in the spirit of Calgary.
Tonight on Calgary 7 News, Calgary area roadways turn deadly. 2 people are dead and 2 more in hospital after 3 separate crashes. Then, art thieves make off with some pricey sculptures. They're stolen in broad daylight. Plus, who's taking home the hardware? We'll tell you who's winning big at the Emmys.
You're watching Calgary 7 News at 11 with Ted Henley, the weekend weather with Jim Hughes, and Kevin Smith with sports.
Good evening. Ted is off tonight. Highways near Calgary were deadly today. 2 people were killed in separate crashes this afternoon. Another person is clinging to life in hospital. The first collision happened at the corner of Highway 1 and Highway 9 shortly after 1 o'clock. Police had to close both roadways at the Langdon corner down for about 1 hour. Officers say a truck towing a trailer was heading south on Highway 9. As the vehicle was crossing Highway 1, it crashed with an eastbound truck. Another vehicle sitting on the side of the road was also involved in the collision. All 3 vehicles went up in flames. Stars Air Ambulance flew 1 person to hospital with serious burns. Another person died at the scene. A mother and her 2 children were treated for minor injuries. A nearby resident heard the crash and called 911.
And we heard brakes and a collision, an impact. And when I stood up, there was about an 8-foot tower of flames.
The propane was a major cause of the fires here. The vehicle's fueled by propane, and so is the camper.
A second crash happened shortly before 3 o'clock. 1 person was killed. It happened near Strathmore, just south of the Trans-Canada on Highway 24. An eastbound car collided with a van traveling north on Highway 24. The woman in the car was killed in the crash. Charges are pending. And in the city tonight, a cyclist is recovering in hospital after being hit by a car. The collision happened at Edmonton Trail and 16th Avenue. The driver was turning west onto the Trans-Canada when she hit a man on a bicycle. Police officers say the cyclist received cuts on his head and possibly some broken bones. He was not wearing a helmet and his bike had no lights. Officers aren't sure if charges will be laid. Fire crews were called out to a Calgary company tonight, not because there was a blaze, but to empty the place of ammonia. Versa Cold on Ogden Road Southeast filled with the deadly gas today. There was a leak in a refrigeration cooling system. Ammonia is dangerous at more than 5 parts per million. At one point, the ammonia in the building reached 7,000 parts per million. Fire crews used the huge fan that powers their hovercraft to blow the gas out the back door of the building.
We're blowing in this door, and we have a pump on the south side where the ammonia is coming out, and we're dissipating it there.
Water from a fire truck was used to dissipate the ammonia. That made it less harmful to the environment. 7 Alberta oil workers and a Canadian woman are among several people being held hostage in South America. It happened yesterday morning in the eastern jungle of Ecuador, about 50 kilometers from the Colombian border. The kidnappers are believed to be Colombian guerrillas. 7 of the oil workers are employed by Edmonton-based United Pipeline Systems. They're all from the Edmonton area. An American in the group also works for the company. The 8th Canadian is a woman who is a landed immigrant here. It's not known where she lives in Canada. She was working in Ecuador for a Canadian non-governmental organization. Officials say they have not received any ransom requests. Hundreds of Canadian soldiers will soon be on their way to East Timor. Prime Minister Jean Chrétien says as many as 600 of our peacekeepers will join a United Nations force. As Ted Colt reports, Indonesia has reluctantly given the go-ahead for international help.
Tonight, President Habibie and his military chiefs bowed to foreign pressure, which threatened to make Indonesia an international outcast. UN peacekeepers will go to East Timor.
Too many people have lost their lives since the beginning of the unrest, lost their homes and security. We cannot wait any longer.
For 8 days, the Vermont-sized territory Indonesia invaded 24 years ago has been under siege by pro-government militia, incensed by the outcome of a referendum in which Timorese overwhelmingly chose independence. Tonight, a resistance leader who could well be East Timor's first president is calling for an immediate UN deployment.
President Habibie and the cabinet have faced up this reality. Now, it is up to the UN Security Council and the international community to act speedily.
First, to bring in aid. Food and water are in short supply. Airdrops are a possibility. Then to deploy troops to disarm the militias and restore order. Australia has offered to lead. It already has ships and troops on standby and says an advance guard could be in place within a week to 10 days.
It's not a question of when they'll be allowed in, when they're ready to come in. I think that's the question, because the president's only said as quickly as possible.
The peacekeepers could have a tough time once they arrive in East Timor. The militiamen say they have no plans to put down their guns. An explosion in Moscow killed at least 8 people tonight. It's suspected someone planted a bomb. The explosion happened at an apartment building in the Russian capital. Another blast at a Moscow apartment complex last week killed nearly 100 people. Police believe the bombs are being planted by rebels from breakaway regions of Chechnya and Dagestan. Reformers and Tories spent the weekend together in Edmonton, but that doesn't mean they're ready to tie the knot. Party members met to discuss ways to revamp Canada's political system. Both parties say they'll use ideas from the meeting to develop new policies. Preston Manning challenged Conservatives to join forces with his party in order to better compete with the Liberals. But Tory leader Joe Clark says working together on some projects won't mean uniting the right.
I hope that identifying that common ground will make it easier for people who didn't support us in the past, who thought they had good reason to reject us, to come and take a second look at us.
Manning invited Clark to attend the United Alternative meeting in the fall, but Clark says he's not interested. Police are hunting for a daring gang of art thieves. The crooks have been stealing rare sculptures worth tens of thousands of dollars. The thefts are taking place both here and in Edmonton. As Gil Tucker reports, the criminals are pulling off the heists right under gallery owners' noses.
The piece that was stolen was very similar to this acrylic structure here.
It's obviously not the kind of thing a shoplifter can just stick inside his jacket and walk out with. So the thieves had done quite a bit of planning before they showed up yesterday at this gallery in the South Centre Mall.
A gentleman came through the door, very excited.
One creates a distraction in the busy store, the others go for the sculpture.
It was sitting right on this stand. All they left was the price card, $18,125.
Now, they suspect the thieves may have used an empty stroller to get the sculpture out of here, putting it inside, then covering it up with a blanket and taking off into the mall.
These people are very fast, they're very bold, and they know exactly what they're going for.
This comes just 2 days after a similar theft at this gallery's Edmonton location.
This one is currently worth $30,000, and somebody walked right out of our Edmonton gallery with it. It's really frustrating. It's like somebody coming into your home and stealing from you. To me, they're petty thieves, they're pickpockets.
But they're pretty rich pockets are picking.
Yep.
The sculpture was sitting on a stand right here.
And this Calgary artist's work was the target last Sunday. His $11,000 sculpture was on display in the lobby of the Sheraton Hotel at Eau Claire. It took the thief just a few seconds.
An individual waited till the concierge was busy, then draped something over it, a jacket or something, grabbed the piece. He was hunched over because it's a heavy piece, 55 pounds, and then he ran around the corner into the bar, through the bar, outside to a waiting van, and got away.
These sculptures are rare, made of the same acrylic used for the windshields on the space shuttle. 3 of them stolen in 1 week in Alberta. The total value about $60,000.
Maybe they know someone who can sell it for them. It may be passed along a chain.
The police at the airport and U.S. Customs already have pictures of this one, plus the other pieces. I've been watching places like eBay and Amazon.com to see if there's any auctions.
They're not taking any more chances at the gallery, now storing all these sculptures in the back room.
They'll not be on display.
It's just too risky.
It's way too risky.
Gil Tucker, Calgary 7 News.
That gallery is now installing security cameras. The owner is also offering a $2,000 reward for any information that leads to the thieves' arrest. If you know anything that might help the investigation, call Crime Stoppers at 262-TIPS. That's 262-8477. And it is 9 minutes of nonstop news. Here's Paul Dunphy now with your first forecast.
Beautiful day in Calgary today, maxed out at 18 degrees because of this, a ridge of high pressure, this clear area that you see right here. Now, if you're watching us at 6 o'clock, it was totally clear, but if you look at the latest satellite loop, you see this cloud that's moving in the last few frames. This will be a good thing for us. This will help to insulate us tonight, and perhaps we won't get the frost, although there is a warning of frost for tonight. We had it last night with that low of -1. Our high today was 18 degrees, and 18 is right where we should be at this time in September. Our records are 30 and -6 for today. Let's take a look at how everybody else in the nation fared on this beautiful Sunday. So as I said, tonight there is a risk of frost, a frost warning in effect for the city of Calgary. We may drop down to that 1 degree. I'm starting to doubt it with the cloud that's rolling in now. 18 for a high once again. Tomorrow I think we might even do 20 degrees. Full forecast details coming up in a few minutes, but right now with sports, here's Kevin.
Thanks, Paul. First preseason game for the Calgary Flames tonight. The Montreal Canadiens at the Dome. And hey, if you've got what it takes to make this club, now's the time to show us. Pick it up in the first. Tyler Moss getting the start, and Dana Zubrus beating him right there. 1-0 for the Habs. And then Craig Darby. Look at the speed going around Wade Belak beating Moss. It was 2-0 Montreal early in the first. The Flames would cut that in half. And here's Todd Simpson here, the captain, getting it on. Jim Cummins. He goes down in the first period right there. Here's Morris, Housley with the shot, and Val Bure. Bure was the best skater on the ice for the Flames tonight. He makes it 2-1. And late in the game, Steve Bégin, he had a good game tonight, throwing his weight around, but you got to tuck that in for a 2-2 tie. Montreal wins 2-1. We'll hear from them a little later on. And also, we'll have results from Spruce Meadows. Rene Tebel of Germany winning $250,000, but Beth Underhill coming second, so we'll have that later on.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin. Here's what's coming up in just 2 minutes. Calgary 7 shows are winning big at the Emmys. We'll have some highlights. And in 7 minutes, Paul's back in with the full forecast. After that, they're fast as lightning. We'll tell you what sport these ostriches are taking up.
Nirmala Naidu-Hill, Calgary 7 News at 5:30.
All your favorite television stars were dressed to the nines tonight. They were celebrating the season at the 51st Annual Emmy Awards. The famous faces tried to outshine each other with designer gowns and suits, stopping for the obligatory photos along the way. Calgary 7 shows came out as big winners this evening. John Lithgow was named Best Actor for Third Rock from the Sun.
Astonished, very grateful, totally unprepared. Gentlemen, I'm so proud to be in the category with you.
Third Rock's Kristen Johnson and Fraser's David Hyde Pierce won for Best Supporting Actors in a Comedy Series. That makes 6 nominations and 3 Emmys for Pierce. Holland Taylor and Michael Badalucco from The Practice won Emmys for their supporting roles in a drama, and The Practice won overall for Best Drama Series. Hurricane Floyd has made it to the big times. It's now a Category 4 storm. We'll tell you what that means to residents in its way next on Calgary 7 News.
Calgary 7 weather is brought to you by the Calgary Auto Mall. Glenmore at Deerfoot, Deerfoot at Glenmore.
And Paul Dunphy joins us now to have a look at the weather. It was really a beautiful day today.
Yes, it was, definitely. A little warmer today than we were yesterday, and we're gradually getting warmer and warmer as this ridge of high pressure builds in over us. We've also got a blanket of cloud tonight, and that could help to insulate us. Our current temperature is 12. This would be a good thing because there is a frost warning. Under the clear skies that we saw earlier, we figured we'd probably drop down to about 1 degree. But now that the clouds moved in, that changes things. We're sitting at 12 right now, 4 degrees by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm not saying the cloud is going to last. Let's just hope that it does maybe cover up the plants anyway. 12 degrees in Lethbridge, 8 Red Deer, 13 in Edmonton at this hour. Jasper is 10 degrees, and Lake Louise is currently sitting at 6. We've got 12s at Deerfoot Mall in Mackenzie Town, and an 11-degree reading coming out of Tuscany at this hour. The official high was just 18 today, but of course it's warmer near the core of the city, and a lot of districts are warmer than that. Here's the view of Western Canada from our satellite, and you can see that the ridge of high pressure is parked right over top of us, cloud going over top of the ridge, along with any disturbances that might come in off the Pacific. We are getting some clouds starting to move in, though, here in the last few frames of the satellite image, and this is what I'm talking about. If this sticks around all night, then we won't drop down to that 1 degree, and there's very little chance of us getting that cool over the next couple of days, because as this ridge amplifies, it is just going to let more and more warm air come up. So we'll do about 18. I'm thinking maybe even 20 degrees tomorrow, 19 in the Lethbridge area, 18 for Red Deer and 19 for Edmonton, 17 degrees at Banff and 22 degrees in Cranbrook. This ridge looks like it's going to be here for a while, too. The next few days, it doesn't seem like it wants to move at all, so we'll continue to deflect moisture and cloud up to the north, and we should have very nice temperatures above normal for this time of year, in fact. So officially, we're still calling for that low of 1 degree. 4 for a wake-up temperature tomorrow. Light west winds developing through the day tomorrow. 15 degrees by the lunch hour, and 18 degrees or better, as I said, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As we look ahead to Tuesday, 19 at least. The ridge is strongest Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 21 degrees on Wednesday and Thursday, with plenty of sunshine throughout. And you're up to date from the Calgary 7 Weather Center. I will have more weather tomorrow morning in the breakfast show starting at 6 o'clock. Join us then.
Thanks, Paul. Hurricane Floyd is now considered a Category 4 storm. It was upgraded earlier this evening. Floyd is packing winds up to 225 kilometers an hour. All of the Bahamas are under a hurricane watch. The storm is still hundreds of miles from Florida's east coast, but residents are beginning to prepare for it to hit. All day in Miami, people flocked to hardware stores getting supplies to batten down the hatches just in case. Calgary athletes swam, ran, and rode their way to the finish line today. It's all part of the annual corporate challenge. About 100 athletes participated in the team triathlon event. This is the final stage, a 10-kilometer run. Before getting to this point, competitors biked for 22 kilometers and swam in Mackenzie Lake. 17,000 Calgarians are participating in the corporate challenge. You can catch the 20 events. They'll continue until September 26th. And from those athletes to a sort of a different kind, Kevin joins us now, and you got to watch some hockey tonight.
That's right. Always in exhibition hockey, the final score is not really the big thing.
No.
It's all about who turns some heads. And one of the guys who turned some heads tonight is a guy named Steve Bejan. He was here a couple years ago, played a few games, and was hurt last year for camp, but tonight got into a good fight right here. Then later on, Rene Corbet, one of our best players, look at that, takes it in the mouth, and Bejan comes into the rescue here. He also had a chance to tie the game late. We'll show you that and much more up next.
And happily,
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Players can score goals, make saves, and block shots all they want in practice. It's only in the game situation that really shows the coaches what you can do. And tonight, players hoping to win a spot on the Flames roster got their first action of the exhibition docket. Let's go to the Dome. Montreal in town. Starter tonight was Tyler Moss, and Jeff Shaw's taking the first face-off of the season for the Calgary Flames. Early on, Dan Zubris working it down low. Up here, gets it, scores, beats Tyler Moss. And we're talking 1-0 for Montreal. Later on, Craig Darby takes a pass here and blows by Wade Belak. Blows by Tyler Moss, too. We're talking 2-0 Montreal early in the first. Moss would come back and play a pretty solid game for the second period before Fred Brathwaite came in the third. Jim Cummings meets Hobbs Simpson. Jim Cummings, meet the ice. Simpson probably won the fight right there. There was another fight involving Steve Bejan that we showed you earlier. Here's the Flames goal right here. Morris over to Housley and Val Bure. Wow, did Val Bure look good tonight. 2-1 for the Habs after one. Watch here, Oleg Saprikin. That's right, the top draft choice of the Flames this year, throwing the body around. Cummings did get up eventually there. Rico Fata, of course, in a line with Saprikin and Daniel Tkachuk. They were buzzing right here. And then Tkachuk down the right side here, rings one off the post. And they certainly had some scoring chances. And here's Morris here with the shot in the third period, and Fata buzzing around this. Saprikin in the crease right there. They're trying to tie the game up. And the best chance to tie it is right here. Here's Steve Bejan. Oh, you got to put that in. And Montreal goes on to get the victory 2-1. But, hey, a lot of good things happened tonight. 2-1's your final. Val Bure scored the only Flames goal. And he said, even though he's been here before, even he was a little nervous tonight.
Well, it was pretty exciting. I mean, you know, I was kind of nervous, excited before the game. I don't think no matter how many years you play in the National Hockey League, you still get that nervous before first game. And that's what happens, I think, not only with me, but with all the guys.
What kind of person are you? Is that something that you're going to think about for a couple days? Or?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I won't sleep tonight, I think. Probably tomorrow too. I don't know. it's hard. It's hard to take. I mean, was a wide open net. I had just tapped it in, and then I will sleep good tonight.
Well, we did have some chances. Our line, which is the puck just didn't seem to want to go in. It was like that for our team all night. We definitely had some mad scrambles around the net. The puck just didn't want to go in for us tonight.
I definitely feel a lot more comfortable, you know, with my surroundings, with the guys and everything. And you know, it's a good experience. It's a good experience for Danny. It's a good experience for Oleg and also myself. You know, to play together a little bit, and you know, the young guys to go out there and try to buzz around and create some offense and play good defensive as well. But you know, it was fun tonight to play and get their first game under the belt, and hopefully get that second one going and play a little more confidence.
And Kachuk, Fata, Safrikin, they'll all get after it tomorrow night when Ottawa comes to town. To Spruce Meadows now, the final day of one of the world's best events, the Masters, and Germany's Renee Tebel taking first prize of $250,000. Canadian Beth Underhill aboard Altair, and she was 47/100ths of a second behind. She came in second, $140,000, plus a check for 10 grand for top Canadian. Almost 170,000 fans visited the grounds this weekend for some super riding. The Calgary Stampeders are a full game out of first place in the West after today's CFL action, but they really should be in a tie. Let's take you to the visuals. Winnipeg against BC, late in the second, 10-7 Lions. Kerwin Bell to Robert Gordon with the one-handed catch. Pretty spectacular 14-7 or 14-10 for the Bombers. To the fourth now, backup Kari Jones in for Damon Allen, who was injured. Goes in for a 6-yard touchdown, 17-15 Lions. Here's the play I'm talking about, 20-16 for BC. The Bombers on the 7-yard line. They go in for the touchdown, they win, and yeah, 2-7 teams do stuff like that. BC gets the ball. BC's 8-2. The Stamps are 7-3. To the NFL today. First day and a whack of games, and the New York Jets lost to the New England Patriots on a last-second field goal, and they lost their quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, for the season with a ruptured Achilles tendon. So bad news for one of the Final Four teams last year. Good news for Buffalo. Now the AFC East is wide open. And right here, a touchdown from Flutie to Andre Reed made it 21-14 for Indianapolis. And with Flutie driving in the fourth, down by 10, this one sealed the deal. Tony Blevins, 74-yard return. Buffalo loses 31-14. They're 0-1. On to the 49ers and the Jags. This was all Jacksonville. Mark Brunell, Damon Jones, 24-3. And they go on to get the victory 41-3 over San Fran. Biggest loss in 20 years for San Fran in the regular season. On to the Cowboys and the Skins. Washington was up 35-14 in the fourth quarter. And the Cowboys came back, put it into overtime, and won on this pass from Aikman to Rocket Ismail. Just a huge game for them on the road in Washington. Finally, the Raiders and the Packers. Last-second touchdown pass from Brett Favre right here. Injured his hand. No broken bones, but could be out for a while. Another game of note, Seattle losing to Detroit. Let's move on now to the men's final at the U.S. Open. An All-American battle between Andre Agassi and Todd Martin. Agassi has won all 4 majors at least once in his career. Martin has never won a major, but is playing the tennis of his life this week. Let's go to Flushing Meadow. There's Jerry Seinfeld. Agassi, near court. The passer right here. Todd Martin in the far court, and Agassi took the first set 6-3, but Martin played some inspired tennis, winning a second set breaker 7-6. He won the third set breaker 7-6 and was 1 set away from his first ever major. But Andre played some unreal tennis in the fourth and the fifth and went on to get the championship 6-3 in the fifth set. Here's your match point. And Andre's got his second U.S. title. What a year for him. He won the French in the finals of Wimbledon as well. Congrats to him. Final day of the Canadian Open from Glen Abbey. 2-time golf U.S. Open champ Lee Janzen, 1-stroke lead over Hal Sutton coming in. Jansen playing this tourney in order to make enough money to get top 30 on tour, to make the Tour Championship. Sutton's already in the top 30. He's getting his game ready for a big Ryder Cup match later this month. Let's go to Glen Abbey. Here's Justin Leonard. He'll be in the Ryder Cup. Good putt here. He finished 7 under. Solid tournament for him. Here's Hal Sutton on the par 3 15th. Oh, man. Like a magnet to a foot. He would get it from there. Lee Janzen, he had a terrible day. 4 over for the day. This is the lone bright spot. Hello. Hello, indeed. Chipping in from the bunker. But Hal Sutton-Germain winning by 3 strokes, so just a lot of confidence for him heading into the Ryder Cup. I'm sure Captain Ben Crenshaw will be very happy about that. Mark O'Meara also having a good tournament. He'll be in the Ryder Cup as well. So we got the Flames tomorrow night. I think tonight was a good start, and some guys that maybe we haven't heard of as much playing pretty well, and the young guys
But it's good hockey. Not many people out at the Dome tonight, though, hey?
Yeah, I don't know what the paid attendance was. I mean, there might have been 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people there.
But
So hopefully
head out
tomorrow
there and see them.
we'll get some more fans. It is good hockey. It's fun. These kids want it badly.
Excellent. Thanks,
You
Kevin.
bet.
Well, some kung fu fighters in Thailand are drawing a lot of attention. They're strong, they're agile, and they're very feathery. These ostriches are willing to take on any challengers. We'll show you some of their moves next on Calgary 7 News. Finally tonight, Alberta farmers are diversifying. They raise emus, elk, and other exotic animals. But a farmer in Thailand is trying something really out of the ordinary to supplement his income. He owns an ostrich farm. Nothing too unusual there. The strange thing is what he's doing with those ostriches. After failing to turn a profit, the man was about to sell the farm. Then he saw an ostrich kick one of his employees, and that swift kick gave him an idea. Now he's training his birds to fight humans in, of course, what else but kung fu matches. 32 ostriches and 4 trainers are now preparing for a competition in November. Even the practices have been drawing crowds. And I couldn't look at any of that video because it was going to crack me up. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Last season,